horror movie?
What?
Let's make a horror movie?
I wonder what it would be like then. Brains in jars, I'm going to guess.
We're a long way for God now, son.
Slowly
Coming out of his mouth.
crawling out
Yeah,
of his
that's
mouth,
fucking
it's stretching
cool.
his skin.
Nice. So he doesn't save them, the bridge goes down, people die, and he's like, oh well, job done. Clarence?
Can we try take two again?
Yeah. All I'm saying is maybe don't trust sentient hats to make life-changing decisions, but...
Thanks for your correspondence, Jacob.
It's yourself, so. Welcome to Let's Make a Horror Movie podcast. I'm Father Fitzwilliam Fitzgerald,
Of course.
and with me here today is John.
Yeah, hello, I'm John, and I'm also here with Dave.
Hello. Hey, John
Yeah.
and Father Fitzwilliam. I mean,
Quite a packed house.
busy and,
Yeah.
you know, verging on lockdown inappropriate.
Yeah, yeah.
Or-
When you said virgin, the father's eyes went up. Yeah, really got quite excited. Because of Virgin Mary.
Now, you know better. You know better, boys. You know better than to do that to me.
I thought you were going to say, Virgin Mary.
Yeah, no. But he's, I think he's a disgraced. Oh, he's gone. Yeah, I think he calls himself a father, but I don't think he has any of the papers.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, he's got papers, I see.
Daddy Fitzwilliam, I guess.
Yeah, you can't just go around. I mean, you could go around calling yourself a father. I don't know.
I have never
Is there
questioned
like
the
a
priest.
police for that? Like a Vatican police?
The Vatican do have their own private army.
The Valleys Vatican police?
I think they're like the Swiss Guard.
Do you know what? We're getting off topic. Anyway, so
We'll sort this out later.
this is the
Thanks, Father.
this is the fortnightly podcast where every fortnight one of us, that's myself or John,
Yep.
Not Father Fitzwilliam Fitzpatrick, or
His stories are not suitable.
his. Every episode, one of us will pitch the other one a horror movie idea, stroke story, stroke walkthrough that we would love to see, and then the other one kind of feeds back,
Yeah.
adds on it.
Talks about it,
Talks
takes it
about
apart, puts it back together.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. And then we come up with a movie, and then someone pays us loads of money.
Yep.
And we get really wealthy, and then
Buy another bloody car.
And then through trickle down economics, you'll probably get
Yeah.
some somehow.
I'm always throwing coins out of my car window.
The podcast is split into 4 acts.
Yep.
The first act, John, is
It's feedback from the last episode, which was one of yours.
right. Yeah, feedback on episode 23's story, The Barber and The Butchers.
Yeah, fantastic. Very,
That's
very
very
good
kind.
stuff.
We'll get to that. Act 2 is the John and Dave cultural milieu
Exactly,
of
yes.
the last 2
All
weeks.
the things that we've seen and listened to and read, which is technically seen.
Yeah,
but,
oh,
you know.
and, you know, other things, tasted, touched, whatever.
yeah.
All the senses.
Yeah. Criminal.
Act 3, not criminal stuff. Did you say criminal?
No,
Oh, I thought you said
no, we cover it
criminal.
all. Criminal, yeah.
And Act 3...
Hated some criminal things.
Criminal. Anyway, Act 3 is the...
Oh, father's come back in, pops over the door.
Criminal. Act 3 is the picture itself. That's the whole podcast is
Yep.
geared towards the third act.
Yep,
That's what it's all about. The first, second, and fourth acts, that's just free.
This is
You're getting that for
this
you
is all
bonus.
sizzle. That's your steak.
Yeah. Act 1, 2, and 4 are like your 2 bonus DVDs.
Yeah.
So you've got your main
Yep.
DVD, and then, wow, there's like 2 more
They're
in
very
here.
much like your starter. They're like your chips, your drinks, your sort of coffee afterwards, your cheese board.
Yeah.
But that's your meal. That's why you're here.
All kinds of food there. Chips, cheese board, and a coffee.
Yeah.
It's just a weird combo. Anyway, look. And the fourth act is like, John and I will just knock around some ideas for the names.
Yep.
And there'll be more of this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I
This
guess.
sparkling bants.
Oh, yeah, that's what we mean. Great. So, look, if you haven't been before, welcome. If you have, thanks for coming back. We love you. Pick the things up, put them down, tie those together, do the things you're supposed to do. But whatever you do, don't touch that.
Oh, God, no. Jesus. Do you remember what happened last time you
I
did that?
do remember, and he lost his
Ooh.
legs.
Yeah.
Found him.
Strangely,
He
he
found
touched
him.
his hands as well. His legs just fell clean off.
And that's the intro.
Yeah. The classic scripted intro that we do every time.
Oh, hello, you'll be here for the first act then.
Thanks, Father.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, Dad. Can you call because same word, right? So
It is, it's very
it's not
similar, yeah.
literally the same word,
Yeah.
but you know, you call your
Yeah.
father or dad.
I mean, I have ruined quite a few christenings by doing it, so I'm not sure
I'm going to say it's an area of theology that I haven't really touched on very much.
No, I did touch on a lot of areas. of
Oh,
theology.
so much of it.
Yeah, quite a scholar.
But not touching in the same way that other theologians might understand it. Anyway, look, this is the first act.
The father is not happy.
And as John said in the intro, this is the act where we get feedback on last fortnight's episode.
This is your bowl of chips.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean chips as in crisps.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't mean like...
You can't go around switching lingo.
I mean, I'm quite a large man, but I don't have a starter bowl of chips.
Chips is French fries.
I mean chips in the kind of like purely American sense.
Yeah, you mean crisps.
I do mean crisps, yeah.
I'm going to say that we should probably pander to the majority of our audience and try and use UK
Swill.
Appropriate lingo.
Yeah.
Swill.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know where we're going with that. It's been a long day, folks.
It has been a very long day.
A long day. Long 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, first in the queue, I guess, of feedback, and possibly last, who knows, but at the very least, ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, first in the queue is North of the Wall Scottish correspondent J-Dubs, Mothman educated.
Of course.
Missed that out.
Hello, J-Dubs.
Now, I've seen the subject line of his email, and just before I read it out, I would say, I like a good C-bomb as much as the next guy.
So does J-Dubs.
He really likes it.
He really does.
I think he really likes making me read it out. So, I'm just going to say,
You really make
fair warning
You
for
made that word sing. I think that's why he likes to do it.
musical. Look, I'm going to read what's written on the page. It doesn't mean I endorse it. So it's entitled Enviro Cunts.
Okay.
I think in future episodes I'll try and maybe minimise the C's to one every 2 episodes, maybe.
Earn it,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't have quite the same oomph, you know.
Yeah,
if it's just drop left, right, and centre. Anyway,
you can have too much of a good thing.
Exactly. It says, "Greetings, Mitch and pals. A couple of key times I've seen John that I'm happy to share.
Oh,
you recall I said that he had followed you,
of course,
through
because he was one of our best students at the old Creepers Peepers College.
Peepers.
Yeah.
He says, I changed the signals on John's train ride in 2009, avoiding a horrific accident and saving his life. This, in turn, cost many hundreds of other lesser lives, but kept the path towards the beginning of the podcast on course.
Thank you very much, and I think the world thanks you as well.
It really is a guardian angel.
It really is.
This morning, I had to throttle a sniper who was waiting for John to return from his daily exercise of skipping through the wheat fields. Upon interrogation, it turns out that the would-be assassin was from Bond Bits, a rival podcast to our Boys on Bond podcast.
We are getting a lot of heat from that.
Bond Bits can do one.
Fuck Bond Bits. Bunch of C-bombs.
You love to fuck Bond Bits. He says, don't worry, mate.
Depends on the Bond and the bits.
Well, true. I suppose it could be any bits.
Yeah, it could be any Bond.
I'll tell you what, there's a really delicious piece of footage of a pre-Bond Pierce Brosnan doing an intro to a Robin Hood documentary. It's fucking incredible. I think it might be his best work. I genuinely think it might be his best work.
I can't think of anything else of his that I've loved.
No.
A lot of stuff I've liked, sure.
I think he peaked with Dante's Peak. It says, don't worry, mate. You may have a poor imitation of my name, but I'm looking out for you all the same.
Thank you very much. It is appreciated.
He says, regarding subconscious advertising, can you please change your sponsors soon? I've got a lot of ammo here and I'm not sure why. Not even sure I bought it all. Regarding the pitch, one of my favourite ones to date, and certainly felt like one of the most balanced and complete.
Well done.
I doff my cap to. So.
Well done.
No glaring need for ideas or improvement, plot or character-wise. Loved the setting, well painted, and I think the plot was well developed and felt complete. Some great visual set pieces. Think lots of shots from helicopters with Brahms, Braams. Don't they use that for like big Bram? I'm sure that's a shorthand for like these trailers that will have a soundscape that's like a panning shot and it'll be like going boo, and it'll go bam with like some fucking event kicking
all
off.
of Chris Nolan's films.
Right. I've just ruined the sounds by going bam really loud a number of times.
You are no Nolan.
I am no Nolan. But then all of his sisters, he doesn't give them any work. Does
he doesn't.
The Nolan sisters don't get any work anymore.
I think
in any of his films.
I think Colleen was in The Prestige, but background purely like a saucy barmaid. I think.
Yeah, just the one thing about Christopher Nolan, apart from all the other weird rumors that are going around at the moment, is that he won't employ any of the Nolan sisters.
Yeah, real falling out with him.
Just cut them all off.
He's never been on Loose Women.
That's right. He has never been on Loose Women. Right. He says. Some great visual set pieces, and I really bought into the criminal activities in the pod stacks. Nice to see the older character choice.
Yeah.
Given the picture was so complete, I thought I'd turn my thoughts to casting. Not really sure how far past 50 you wanted to go, so I sent a few options for you to chew over.
Okay.
Penelope Wilton and Jonathan Price. He might be a little bit on the old side, frankly, because he's got to be 70.
He's an older man. Yeah. She was in Shaun of the Dead. She's Sean's mum.
Oh, yeah, she's very good.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's also in Doctor Who. Liam Cunningham and Emma Thompson.
Oh, Liam Cunningham is always welcome.
Who, give me context. I'm going to know him, but I don't know.
He's Irish actor. He's amazing.
Oh, Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers, yes. He's the
gotcha.
company-esque man.
Yeah, isn't he fucking thingy from Game of Thrones?
He is. He's the Onion Knight in that.
Fingers, yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing in that. Best person in it.
He's great in everything he does, actually. Sean Pertwee.
I mean...
Mate, get a given.
I think it's really, anytime we mention another actor's name, it means that it's not Sean Pertwee. That's how I've always been working. He played all the nuns in Mission.
He played all the nuns, yeah.
Apart from the lead, her name.
Like a Freddie Mercury Clumps scenario.
Freddie Mercury Clumps.
No. I'll take that out. That's coming out.
That's wonderful. Freddie Mercury's Clumps coming at you. Oh, wow.
That's one of the...
That's
I'm sorry,
amazing.
because that's one of the things that we're advertising subliminally, and I've said it out loud when I shouldn't have.
Clumps on Blu-ray coming soon.
No. You're thinking of Eddie Murphy's Clumps.
Of course.
Freddie Mercury's Clumps is a whole different thing.
It's a cereal, isn't it?
It's not even a... It's a product. You can buy them and eat them. Yeah.
Set you up for the day. Freddie Mercury's Clumps. Full of fibre.
Full of fibre and hair. Full of mustache hair.
Freddie Mercury's Clumps.
But anyway, it's Sean Pertwee and Helena Bonham Carter.
Ooh,
which I think would be
fantastic.
A cracking double.
I like how we genuinely don't know an actor younger than our own age. So we know a lot of it.
Who cares?
Barely babies.
Just kids, isn't it?
Honestly, a fetus running around.
John Boyega's younger than we are.
Is he? Oh, yeah, of course
he is.
Yeah, of course.
He's just in his 20s. Which at this point, he's starting to feel like...
He's on a real downward curve. Emotionally speaking.
Look, John, just enjoy it, because it's... Well, I was going to say it's going to get shit, but it's not for him, because he's a massive Hollywood actor, isn't he? Yeah, but for most people, if you're not John Boyega, and you're listening to this...
You're done.
Just do what you can.
Do
what you can to just squeeze the most out of it, because, you're not John Boyega. So,
and that's on you.
None of us are, though. That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
The only one. Anyway, we're getting off topic. He says, regarding the website, happy to see the output of overwhelming public pressure with a contributor section appearing so quickly. I'll start a new campaign in a few weeks and soon have that section increased to overwhelm the rest of the site. Question to leave you on. Who does the Insta artwork? It's awesome, worth checking out for audio-only folks. Insta artwork.
Oh, it's you.
Does that mean me? Does it mean the episodes? Do you mean the episode artwork?
Unless your question is, who does the pictures where everybody cries and kids get killed? The answer's always you.
Thank you to J-Dubs for your feedback as always. Super appreciated. You are basically the third host.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, don't forget that.
You've got responsibility. Alright, I've got a bit of feedback from Michael. Long time, not first time.
If anyone, it does go on the website and they look at the contributors sketches, you can get one of them for yourself just by doing what Michael's done here. But Michael has a sketch up, and if anyone couldn't tell, it's supposed to be a hand puppeting a torn off face.
I got that.
You got that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Dave's pitch needs to be on your sister podcast. Let's make a horror TV series, as there was so much story and areas you could delve into. For instance, I think at the same time as the main story, you could follow the children and maybe one of the butchers. I was picturing the type of world portrayed in Handmaid's Tale, but with pods. That kind of like dystopian, slightly like a skew version of ours. As a film, I think it would be a full-on Crank-style Guns Akimbo to make the violence a little easier to take. Well played, Dave, and his hatred of social media.
Cheers, Michael.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great idea.
There's a lot there in the world.
To allow me the moment of additional self-indulgence on top of the fact that we have a podcast. There is loads you could extrapolate out, and there must be so many characters you could look at, not even the ones I touched on. So, like, people that actually don't have a pod.
Yeah.
People that are in this endless mass. And, their stories and their fights for survival would just be fucking incredible. You could start earlier than the film started and have the sort of disintegration of the middle class. I don't like to draw generalizations, John. But all of social media is shit. And ultimately, you know, to Michael's point, perhaps there's too much in there. Like, if you were to write a proper script, you might find, I guess, that I've tried to crowbar too many things in. I'm liking this, trilogy. Yeah. Oh, I could do 3 films.
Yeah, mate, rattle it out.
Ridley Scott, probably looking for a new project. I still know it's a bit close to Blade Runner, but the content's not really the same.
A lot of things are close to Blade Runner.
Well, that's true as well. That's true as well. Yeah. Looking back on it, I sort of thought, I stole from so many different places for it.
I don't know.
I'm so glad I had the caveat of this is all a bit contrived. I'm pleased Michael liked it, and also Dre Dubs, actually, because I worked quite hard on that one.
No, it was fantastic. Especially because it was like a quite astute stab at social media and stuff like that. Although like those sort of companies tend to be vacuous ethical voids, they don't make people do what they do. No, people still are cruel as they want to be.
People, John, as we discussed off podcast, will quite happily say things like, day 1 of 100 days of my favourite albums nominated by so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. No explanation.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see 100 days of fucking anything with no explanation.
Of course.
Anything at all. So, sorry,
a feeling of a pitch coming.
God, I hate it. Moving on. God, it's going to be a tricky edit, John. I'll be honest with you.
Don't envy you. Father, if you could.
Bless your heart. You've arrived in Act 2. I don't know, John. I got nothing. I got nothing to say.
To be honest, mate, we had Mitch in last week.
I come here off the streets seeking help, you know, and here you are giving me scripts to say and things to do.
I mean, we have never had such a combative announcer as this. And one so ill prepared for the role, I'll be honest. I mean, Mitch last week, fucking hell, he could have been doing our job.
He did well. He read an old script. And this guy's just come in, basically thrown it back in our faces and fucked off again. Just because I questioned whether or not there was some sort of papers he needed to prove he was a quote-unquote father. For all we know, he's just got kids somewhere. And an Irish accent. And is dressed appropriately. Technically, he wouldn't be lying.
I didn't say his own kids. He's just got kids somewhere.
Just got kids. Well, I would say technically it'd have to be his kids in some respects for him to be a father. But my point is...
They're his now.
In some respects. Yeah. Either by hook or by crook. I don't know. How do you get kids? I don't
Ownership
know.
Ownership is 9 times to the law.
You ask for them or something. I don't know. But my point is, he's technically telling the truth if he just says he's a father.
Yeah.
It's our mistake that we think he's a holy man.
But despite that, he's only been asked to announce the different acts.
It's true.
And already he's been surly.
Yeah, recalcitrant.
Yeah,
let's say.
Of course. If you want to say it easier.
If you want a simpler word for it. Yeah. So, right, anyway, alright.
Father, have a sit down, have a wee dram,
and
then we'll see you back for Act 3 and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, he's off. I can see him. He's pulling out a bottle from under his...
Cassock?
Cassock's a weird name for a thing that you wear.
It is.
What do you think?
It's a weird name for anything, really.
But then I suppose it's just because we're not used to it. So if I said hat...
I suppose if...
maybe it might be weird if you didn't know what a hat was.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it was a weird name for it. You might think it'd better be called a dumpf. You know what I mean? Better word for hat. Alright, write in. Let's make a horror movie at gmail.com. Tweet us at LaManPod, LMAHM pod. Headwear, is it better with hat as a term or dumpf?
Or other.
Or something else, or a third option. Yeah, fill in is applicable. Write in, we'll read the answers out next time.
Of course, looking forward to it.
And then change the terminology going forward. This is Act 2.
Yeah.
And in Act 2, we go through relevant cultural things.
Yep.
That we've seen, heard, tasted, touched.
Heard.
I said heard.
Oh, okay.
Seen, heard, tasted, touched. Is there another one? I feel like there's a fifth sense.
There's a fifth sense.
Heard.
Yeah, because in the sixth sense, he didn't have two special ones.
Didn't have two additional senses. Yeah.
Just one of them wasn't that interesting. You could always find flan. It's like doesn't really come up.
Yeah.
No one really eats it anymore.
So irrelevant, exactly.
It's an old-fashioned dish.
Like, he would say, if there's flan around, I could tell you.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is there isn't any around.
But the kid's like 7, barely even knows what flan is.
Yeah, just has got a tingling.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what it is.
I'm picturing something like a pie, but not a pie.
What he needs is like a Scatman Crothers to be like, you got the flan. We called it the flan.
It's a culture.
Yeah, so I what have I been doing? I haven't. I've been doing fuck all. So it's gonna be down. It's gonna be down to you again, John. I just want to say one quick thing. I'm rewatching Avengers Endgame. Is something I have done this week.
Nice.
And it occurred to me that they very, very, very readily accept Hawkeye back into their mix.
They do.
After 5 years in which he's fairly ceaselessly slaughtered people, right?
Like a serial
and by
killer.
their own, like a serial killer, but arguably a really, really bad one, like a really nasty one,
Really
like
bad one,
real high hit rate.
With really old-fashioned weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, I don't know a lot about weapons, but arrows don't kill straight away.
No, right.
They bleed
exactly.
out.
Or swords, as a rule, unless you, like, smash them through someone's heart or throat. But
arrows are barbed for a reason.
yeah. So here's the thing, like, it's like a 5-year period. This guy's... He's gone insane.
Yeah,
he
lost his
isn't
mind.
like, and the thing is, they send in Scarlett Johansson, and she's like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't be doing all this." And he's like, "Oh, I'm grumpy."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, there's a chance that you might be able to get your wife and kids back." Now, that's where it cracked for me, because I was just like, hang on, he's fucked. You don't want to put his kids back with that guy. He's a fucking psycho. As far as we know, he'd probably fucking kill him and fuck the corpses. He's that kind of, like, loose cannon at this point. Who knows what he's been doing in amongst all the cadavers that he's been building up over the last 5 years. For God's sake, I mean, even Don Cheadle's like, man, you should see the nasty shit he's done to the federales here in Mexico. It is unspeakably bad. Yeah? That's the kind of guy, right, that he is. And by their own admission, he's killing people that shouldn't necessarily be killed.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, we need him back. You don't need him back. He doesn't have any fucking superpowers for a start.
He doesn't have many powers that aren't even super. Like he's not
his
an expert.
only superpower is looking the most like a pug out of all the Avengers. Right? That's Hawkeye's main superpower. Pug looking.
Yeah, that's his first one. That's tick. He's got that. And to be fair, if you look at the lineup, not a lot of like competition. So I don't know if he's the best pug looking man out there. It's just the best pug looking man in the room.
I think a lot of his work was setting him up for something to do with crufts.
Infiltrate
further
crufts.
down the line. Yeah. Anyway, look, I don't know, I'm getting off topic, but the point is, like, it's fucking insane what they do in Endgame, and no one ever talks about it.
Yeah.
It's totally glossed over, and he's instantly redeemed.
Yeah.
The second he just decides to stop 5 years of murdering.
He does seem fine very quickly.
He literally just dropped a guy when this happens as well. It's not like he's sat in a pub, reflecting on it, and he's like, God, I've really been bad. He's literally wiping the blood off his sword on the sleeve of his thing while he's having the conversation.
And then it's like shower and a haircut, back on side.
Who even wanted Hawkeye? Where are the focus groups? I want to hold them to account, because out of all the MCU, you pick the one that has like the least interesting super... He doesn't have any fucking powers.
I can
He's just
imagine...
good at bow. He's basically Robin Hood.
In that focus group, the camera will pan and see one man dressed as a bard, and then he's the one who's like, we've got to have an archer in there.
Yeah.
Else they're fucked without that.
Right.
With a lute in his hand.
The best thing that Hawkeye did for the MCU was force the writers to come up with increasingly convoluted gymnastics to make him not only relevant, but stay alive in the whole fucking shenanigans.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. That's what's been bothering me for the last 2 weeks. John, any actual horror stuff that's good to talk about for the podcast?
I read Born.
That's
unbelievable. Jeff Vandermeer again smashes it. He's amazing. I won't give anything away because it's hard to describe as it is. If you haven't read it, it's hard to describe.
What you could say, it's a sort of dystopian future.
A dystopian biotech ruined world, very surreal, but yet at the same time emotionally really grounded.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing. Perfect, I would say.
And if anyone's going to pick it up based on that recommendation, there is a short story that precedes it in the Third Bear, which is a book of short stories by Jeff Vandermeer.
Which I've also purchased. He's also got a sequel called Dead Astronauts and a short story called Strange Bird. There's a whole... You can find this all out.
It's a whole to do.
Yeah, we're not here to hold your hand for all of it. Just get Born. So there's that. I watched Hagazussa, The Heathen's Curse. Art house horror.
Good name, Hagazussa.
Yes, it's...
Excellent.
It's a lot of movie.
Here we go, folks. I'm on bated breath waiting to see what comes next.
It's terrible, so it's got a 9 out of 10. I didn't think a lot to it. My wife fell asleep. It had some flashes of genuine genius.
Your wife falling asleep is not a great sign.
It's a damning thing, but she doesn't like witches stuff set in the olden times, all weird stuff.
And all of this is
all of those things.
I mean, it sounds good on
15th
those.
century.
On those. Oh, see, that's right up my alley, man.
Yeah, mate. I mean, there's a lot to like in there, but it's slow burn. It's slower than you imagine with a slow burn.
Okay.
And it's very much like an art house horror.
Sure.
It does have its merits. What else did I watch? Oh,
Not going to give it a score then? Or?
Oh, Hagazussa. Oh, fuck. I'd give it a 5 or 6.
5 out of 6?
No,
oh, right. A 5 or a
6.
6. I was going to say.
I'd probably say a 5 if I'm honest, but the soundtrack was incredible and the lead performance is award-worthy.
Is it Western?
It's German.
German.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also watched a 2009 film called House of the Devil, another slow burn. Fantastic film. Lovely payoff. I would recommend.
Oh, do you know what I did watch? Just because it was on TV. And in spite of me having said in the previous podcasts that I don't watch horror movies on my own, that is demonstrably not true.
Yeah. It's all falling apart like a house of cards now.
I Insidious 4?
Oh,
so I've seen the first, definitely the first one. I think maybe the second one. They have touches that I like. I don't particularly love those movies, but I just thought it was interesting because Insidious 4, given what I was saying last week about how rare it is to see horror films with protagonists that are...
Yeah.
In more advanced years.
Silver horror.
The protagonist pretty much in Insidious 4 is the sort of psychic lady. If you haven't seen any, it won't mean anything to you, but she's in like a 60s.
I know you mean.
60s, basically.
Very good.
I mean, they do very much hang a lot of other young blonde women off her. But nonetheless...
A bit like Buckaroo.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was scary.
What's your
so
score?
It's like
What's your score?
Oh, fuck, I don't score them, but... I don't know. I'd have to probably give it a 6 because it didn't have the scares, you know.
Fair
Didn't
enough.
have the scares. There was nothing wrong with it. The thing is, they created a world with Insidious that doesn't give them huge... They haven't found out where else they can go with it. Either that or it doesn't give them the option.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad world. It's quite a cool idea. Well...
That's culture. Father, you got one more go at this, mate. You got one more go. We ain't bringing you back for 4 if you can't do 3.
Jesus, Mary, Joseph, Mother of God. It's Act 3.
No, well done.
I don't think we'll be having much more Father Fitzwilliam Fitzgerald.
He's no Mitch.
First of all, because I can't remember his first and second name accurately every time, it means I'm probably unlikely to be able to get hold of him again.
Well, when he said it, he seemed like he wasn't sure. He
was
looking around the room.
I'm beginning to think the whole thing was a confidence trick.
He's a real Kaiser Soze. Yeah. Because I've actually got a mug with Fitzpatrick on
it. Nonetheless, he's gone. We're in the third act.
Thank you for your work.
As we all know, this is the meat and 2 veg of the podcast, or your equivalent other.
It's your main meal.
Euphemism. Yeah.
You're sitting in your seat. You hear the kitchen door open and a kind of sizzling sound as they come to your table. You think, "Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for this."
Yeah.
I've had my chips.
You think like that, but
I've had my amuse.
Yeah. What's going back to your analogy at the beginning? What's this now? The cheese board?
No. This is the main meal.
This is the main meal.
This is the mains.
Did you even include that in the list at the beginning? The beginning list was like you said, like chips, cheese board, then coffee.
Yeah, that's your act 1, 2, and 4.
Right, and so 3's your main meal.
Yeah,
God,
exactly.
I am slow. I think
because that was a robust way of looking at it.
Yeah. So it's on me, John. It's on me. I failed.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about my failures. This is a John week. This is your pitch.
Is my
Do
one.
you want to give us any caveats? You want
Yes,
to give us
there
an
is a
intro?
caveat.
Tell us all about it.
Oh, God. Okay, so the caveat is, I don't know what, I'm really reluctant because I've got a title for it, which I wrote first. I also think with this
you
one...
wrote the title first.
I did write the
title. So you
first.
literally were like, here's the title, now I'm going to write the film to that.
That makes sense.
Cool.
And I kind of think an audience watching the movie would know the title.
I'm going to say, if anyone listening wants John to do that with one of their titles, please write in, send us a title, challenge John.
Yeah, give me some
to
words.
write a horror movie idea based on a title.
I would love that. I genuinely would. I really would like that. I mean,
Bodkin's fuckface.
got something already.
We'll have to change the name, obviously, for it to be Bodkin's blank face. That's like star. Right.
Yeah.
It's just a verbal shorthand for star.
All right, we're not all in the media. So I'm not sure I should tell you the title of this or not. I will read it out, sans title. I want to say the title, and I'll let Dave make a decision based upon the editing process. So that's caveat 1. One other quick caveat is that In my head, there's a lot more characters.
So hang on. First caveat was that it's got a title.
It's got a title.
It's not really a caveat. So next,
or a description of normal fiction.
yeah, next on the list.
Is that I've slimmed down an idea to make it readable in this podcast, but there would be a lot more characters.
Cool. On that note, then.
We start in chaos as an old man is rushed into a hospital with blood spilling from a wound in his stomach. All around him, paramedics and doctors rush to stabilise his condition. They move through double doors, taking the noise and activity with them. All that remains are dark pools of blood on the tiled floor. The title would smash onto the screen at this point, but I'll leave that. 70s style, you know what I mean? Straight on there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's what's going on
Disconcerting soundtrack.
Oh, completely.
Like just a really odd tone.
A real blam.
Yeah. We both went similar places.
We did.
With that.
We did.
Yeah.
A surgeon urgently demands to know the details of the patient before she begins operating. A paramedic tells her that he is an elderly, unidentified male who is found staggering outside hospital with a large amount of blood spilling from his abdomen. So far, no one has had a chance to properly see the wound. The surgeon asks why, and is told that it seems to be an almost endless amount of blood, and the paramedic nervously goes on to say that they did not get a chance in all the panic to properly sort of like see what's going on there.
Right.
Just bleeding constantly.
Good way to build up to a reveal. Love it.
Exactly. So the paramedic seems shaken but does not elaborate further. Time is pressing, so she enters the operating room as she's announced as Dr. Tretter. So she comes in, Dr. Tretter's now in theatre.
Yeah.
So that's how you know who she is. And the name tag.
Dr. Tretter, we've needed you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm here now, I'm here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why it's set
it's got very
Downton
strange
Abbey.
accent. Yeah. So yeah, this is 18th century England.
It's all fizzing ginger to me.
Okay, she's calm despite the still bleeding man on her operating table and the panic surrounding her. So everybody's fucking don't know what's going on, and she's quite a calm presence in the theatre.
Got to be paramedic. Wait. Is this the doctor or the paramedic?
This is a surgeon.
This is a surgeon.
So she's like fucking
notorious. Like,
oh, Billy
calm
Big
under
Bollocks.
pressure.
She's
Gotta
like,
be.
of course, you can't have a shaky surgeon. I've always said that. Another doctor and a couple of nurses are trying to staunch the bleeding. They're doing so with touching the patient as little as possible. The other doctor looks up at Tretter with red, tear-filled eyes as pleads for help. Everywhere there are soaked crimson bandages and dressings that are trying in vain to stop the bleeding. Tretter pours water over the wound, so from like a little squib.
Gotcha,
like,
yeah,
like
try and clear the blood away to see what's going on.
But is faced with a gaping black tear running from the man's side all the way to the centre of his stomach. She exclaims that someone has attempted to disembowel the poor man as more blood pours from the wound, obscuring it once again.
God.
Immediately she gives orders for one of the nurses to pour continuous water over the area and for the other attending doctor to begin to try and clamp the larger blood vessels and arteries, as she will try and cauterize the wound as best she can. So they use like a laser to cauterize.
Got it, yeah. She's taking control.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She knows the way around.
This is her playground. She's fucking Big Boy Barry.
Play ball.
Don't know if anyone else used to watch Games World in the 1990s on Sky One, but that's what that reference was.
Genuinely.
Don't know where it came from. It just came out of my head, and my own brain went, Big Boy Barry? What the fuck is that from? And then it answered itself and went, Games World from the 90s.
Do you know what? I think on the Venn diagram of Games World in this podcast, there would actually be quite a large crossover. I genuinely
well, let's hope so. And on that note, before we move on, Big Boy Barry's sidekick was David Walliams.
Genuinely, I didn't know that.
There you go. Look it up.
Interesting.
Look it up.
We'll leave that.
Sorry, leave that there.
Yeah. They work tirelessly and frantically as the blood begins to spill over the edge of the table and lap at their shoes. So this is a fuck ton of blood at this point, more than they're used to dealing with.
When we say lapping at the shoes, are we implying that then the whole floor is in a sea of blood?
It's sort of like dribbling over the metal of the table, and it's just sort of like
slicking out.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it.
Eventually, the work is complete, and they stand back exhausted. Tretter asks on the state of the man, and a shaken nurse responds that he is fine and his heart rate barely went over normal resting rate. The other doctor adds that no one should be able to bleed that much, let alone survive this kind of injury at his age. Tretter looks silently at the old man, who looks more as if he's sleeping than if he'd almost been gutted. So it's all a bit fucking weird.
It's not adding up.
Very sketchy.
2 and 2 is bringing up 3.
Exactly.
We're all scratching our heads.
Yeah, we're all there with Tretter, looking pensively. The old man, who's been dubbed Methuselah by the staff as he's seemingly unable to die, is put into a private bed as Tretter speaks to a couple of police officers about who this man really is. They honestly have no idea, as there was nothing on his person when he was found outside. So far as his prints and description have not led to any information at all, so I've no idea. Let's see.
John Doe.
It's a John Doe situation. A young nurse, Josh, attends the old man. The patient, actually, John Bodega would be very good in this.
Boyega?
Boyega. I mean,
Bodega is different.
Bodega, I prefer him, but Boyega is
John
Bodega.
John Bodega is the affordable.
Yeah.
We could probably get John Bodega. We couldn't get John Boyega.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, either of the Johns basically would be perfect for this
Well,
role.
that's how Kel Surprise, right? John, hey? I mean, this seems like positive discrimination, if anything. John basically hiring other Johns.
Yeah, everyone in this is a John.
And at this point, no one's making the connection between that.
So the patient seems to be sleeping peacefully, but just touching the man makes the nurse clearly uncomfortable. He tells himself to get his head in the game and do his job. So he's kind of like mutters this under his breath, like, fucking do your job, mate. Stop being so reticent to do this. He begins to carefully check the dressing over the man's stomach. All seems alright, but the old man's white skin somehow leaves what looks like ash on the nurse's fingers, as if the old man is coated in it, but he clearly isn't. Josh rubs his fingers trying to remove the ash, but as soon as it starts to smoulder and kind of creeps more over his hands.
Oh no!
He then rushes to the sink and scrubs furiously. He begins to call for help.
It's not going to work, John.
No,
Sorry.
Nah, John.
If I know horror.
Yeah. He begins to call for help as he tries to wash the spreading corruption off himself. Soon another couple of attendants burst into the room and try and calm him down. All they see is Josh washing his sore and red hands under a steaming hot tap. They cannot see any of the ash or burning that Josh can. Eventually they get through to him and lead him to a nearby staff room where he sits silently watching his own hands cook under the burning ash that no one else can see. Behind him, the other surgeon from the operating theatre, so not Tretter, stares blankly out of the window. So just just on the edge of the shop, you see the doctor just staring, just with no idea what's going on around him.
Disconcerting, unnerving.
It's just a load of weird shit at this point.
Yeah.
We cut back to Methuselah. Fucking hell. Guys, I've got a very slight stutter. And M's are difficult. I tried to find another biblical name without an M at the beginning of it, and none of them worked for this. So blame the Bible, guys.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Again. We cut back to Methuselah, who lays sleeping as the monitor begins and beeps a gentle rhythm. As the view pulls back, we see Dr. Tretter staring pensively in the doorway. After a few moments, she tells the head nurse of the sort of floor not to let any of the staff members touch the patient and requests the police officer stay overnight, or at least until the identity of the man is resolved. The two police officers who are present were just completing their own paperwork on the patient and were just about to leave. The younger officer, Officer Ty, is told by his partner to hang back and watch over the old man, to his obvious and resigned annoyance. He's like, about to knock off.
Nobody wants that.
And he's like, mate, you're the young one, you fucking stay here. And he's like, oh, come on, Chief. Classic.
Boyle? Sorry, that's...
Classic police banter. We move to a middle-aged porter, Clive, moving along the same floor as the old man doing his rounds. So there's going to be a few bits where we move from person to person.
Love the Clive. Love.
As it all spreads. I think, you know what? Pertwee could be alright for this. A little bit typecast, but he could do it. There's no question about that. He's running behind. He's had to clear up so much blood. So he's been clearing up the blood in the kind of corridor, basically. His cart is full of containers containing the bloodied rags. He moves from room to room, joking with the staff and being friendly to the public. He's a nice guy.
It's not going to end well for Clive. Again, classic red flag. Yeah. Oh, people like him, dead.
Yeah. Oh, no. If I write somebody likeable, they will get the worst of it. Can't fucking stand
To you,
them.
that's like the biggest crime.
Oh, red flag to a bull, mate. Thing is that fucking easy to be likeable. Jesus. Anyway.
You lucky bastard.
He moves from room to room, joking with staff, blah, 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 blah. He moves past the staff room and sees Josh sitting silently in the corner, staring at his hands, which appear fine, if not a little red and slightly sore. Tears trickle down a young nurse's face. Clive calls out to Josh, but gets no response at all. So he shakes his head in sympathy and just moves on. He's tried his best, but he's like, better minds than me can deal with this. I'm just trying to call out to him, mate.
Yeah.
He enters an adjoining storeroom to pick up some supplies when he hears like a shriek, like a scream, which makes him drop all his stuff. It's like pads and stuff, you know what I mean? Like tissues and shit.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, so nothing's broken, nothing breakable, no glassware.
It's not test tubes.
Yeah, no like crockery. It's just paper towels and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he drops all his stuff. He rushes out to the corridor, but everything is relatively calm as it is late in hospital and no one seems to have heard the scream. Clive hears it again as he's talking to the head nurse. So a little bit of time passes, a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
When he hears the scream again, it makes him jump and look around fearfully. Again, no one else hears this. He demands to know if anybody can hear that. Somebody clearly needs help. So he's like, someone do their job. Someone's clearly in pain here. The nurse sympathetically says that everybody who needs help is getting it, but no one is screaming. Another younger doctor jokes that maybe Clive wants to join Joss in the break room to share some biscuits and psychosis.
Oh, God.
The comparison to Joss causes Clive to nervously laugh it off and continue his rounds. As he walks away, the screams start again in earnest as he walks the same route as before. He's deafened by the cacophony of unseen wailing voices. He pushes his cart with white knuckles and sweat runs down his face as he tries his best to ignore the noise. So Clive's having a rough go already. He's he's worried about himself. The head nurse, Daphne, who he was talking to.
Daphne. It's good. First time for the podcast. We'll take it.
Ring the bell.
Ming, ming, ming.
Daphne.
I think that should be a thing.
Yeah,
every new name gets a Scooby.
Yeah.
Gets a Scoob.
This would be quite a good backdoor pilot to a new Scoob. The head nurse, Daphne, watches Clive with a concerned look, because he's obviously looking a bit pale, a little bit green around the gills. She asks a nearby doctor if he looks all right. The doctor replies that he's probably just a little bit shaken and tells Daphne that the other doctor, present in the operating theatre earlier, told him that Methuselah bled all over the theatre. Clearing up that kind of mess is going to fuck up anyone's day, he says. Not quite convinced, Daphne moves to check on the wards under her care. So he's just like it's been a tough night. And she's like, all right, maybe that's all it is. They're on a surgery ward. So
Daphne's on it. We know. We're all nodding along with Daphne, going, Daphne, you're on the right
She's always
tracks.
been the smart one.
Yeah.
Yeah. She takes a quick tour of a couple of wards of various specialist patients recovering from surgery, one of which is a cancer care ward. She exchanges a few pleasantries with some of the more alert patients as she checks in on them. By the end of the round, she finds herself really exhausted, more so than she expects. But then the hour is getting late, so it's really getting quite late, almost like 12 o'clock at this point.
Yep.
AM.
Hospitals don't stop, man.
No, mate.
Or the good ones, anyway.
Yeah, those 9-to-5ers.
The ones that just turn everything off at 5, yeah. You don't want to land in one of those.
Oh, God, no. So she retires to the staff room. In the corner, Joss still sits silently, seemingly unaware of Daphne's company. She makes a hot drink for them both and sets Joss's next to him. She lightly touches his shoulder to let him know, but he recoils from her and looks at her for the first time. His eyes are bloodshot and panicked like a wounded animal. He falls from the chair to get away from her, demanding that she gets away from him or she'll start burning as well. He crawls backwards into the corner as a surprised Daphne tries to calm him. A couple of other members of staff rush in to see what's happened because they can hear the chair falling over and stuff. And they attempt to coax Josh from the corner, but he's deaf to their pleas. They agree that he needs to be properly checked out as something is clearly wrong. So it's not just like fatigue or anything else now. You get a bit more worrying now. They begin to discuss whether he's taken something to cause such a strange reaction. Behind them, watching from the doorway, a new character, a middle-aged, smartly dressed woman, stands silently with a smirk on her face. Daphne spots her first and asks what she wants, a tone shorter than maybe she intends. Because obviously it's quite a personal situation going on. She's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
The woman replies that she's come to visit her elderly uncle, as she's heard he was found outside. Hearing this, everybody turns around, because everyone's like, whoa, hang on, this is...
Yeah.
The plot
Methuselah's mum. No, Methuselah's niece?
Yes, Methuselah's niece.
MN.
So we cut again to both Tretta and Nurse Daphne sat in a private waiting room.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So I wouldn't normally do this. It's just that I like when I have a little bit of fact.
It's important,
a little fact nugget.
Yeah.
Tracy Emin's surname originally was Methuselah's niece, and then she shortened to Tracy Emin.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just got a lot of stigma. I think Methuselah especially.
Yeah. And she wanted to work without using a family name.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. Similar things happen all throughout history.
Yeah.
So there you go. Who knew Tracy Methuselah's niece?
Not just chuckles, guys. Sometimes it's just facts.
It's a learning show. It's a learning show. I think we covered that one on Big Questions.
I think we... Both Tretta and Nurse Daphne are sat in the private waiting room, asking the middle-aged woman questions. She gives her name as Lily, only Lily. She gets vague, unhelpful responses as both hospital staff get obviously more annoyed by her smirking and unhelpful attitude. Lily says she would just love to see her uncle now. Eventually they agree, but only if they actually kind of come with her. Because she's given very little.
Yeah.
I'm
Keep
Lily,
an eye on her.
I'm here to see my uncle. That's it. And she's smirking.
None of this is adding up.
They move towards the private suite. During this, Lily hears a young nurse refer to her uncle as Methuselah, which makes her laugh cheerfully. Oh, the old fucker would love that, she says, sort of laughing to herself.
Yeah.
They enter the room with a sleeping old man, and Lily looks around, still smiling. Well, he's certainly putting up well. No doubt about that, still smiling, she says. Don't expect any thanks from this bastard, though. He's not exactly the grateful type. Lily sits herself down next to her uncle. Tretta asks forcefully, What is his name? We really do need to know, if only for his own sake, trying to appeal to her one last time. Lily stops smiling for a moment and she thinks, well, he's had a few names over the years, to be honest, but Methuselah is as good as any. It is suitably old. Again, she laughs cheerfully at the two women, much to their obvious annoyance. Tretta goes to reply angrily, but Daphne stops her and says they should give Lily a few minutes with her uncle, but they'll be back soon. Lily kicks off her shoes and makes herself comfortable. As they leave the room, Dr. Tretta is clearly furious. She makes clear that she does not like Lily at all, and they'll get answers soon enough. He tells the station police officers to inform her if Lily goes to leave. With this, she storms off, leaving Daphne standing in the corridor. She says to herself she didn't even ask what happened to her uncle. In the cafeteria, so again we cut again, a small group of staff have moved Josh to a seat and are trying to persuade him to eat or drink something. He sits there shaking, his hands held out in front of him. Through his eyes they look charred and ruined. Behind them, Clive is nursing a cup of coffee, his face pale and soaked with sweat. Into this, one of the cancer patients from the ward before walks in, putting an IV behind them. They carefully walk across the cafeteria, the metal stand squeaking as they do. Barely anybody even gives them a glance at first. As they come across the room, one of the nurses with Josh looks up and exclaims they should be in bed as it's late. Because obviously these are all like post-surgery kind of cancer patients, so they're not going to be sprightly. So he's like, sorry, you've got to go back to bed, you've got to get your rest in. Patient turns to them and goes to speak, but a dark lump of bile and old blood falls from their mouth like a stillborn calf.
Ugh.
It falls to the floor, and the patient falls to their knees. Their weak and skinny legs hit the floor with a sickening crunch. So they just kind of like just collapse hard and bad. They go to scream, but more thick fluid comes from their throat. The cafeteria erupts in noise and panic as everybody rushes to help. Because there's not much public there now.
It's
staff
after hours.
Exactly, yeah. The patient falls further into a choking mess as they feebly try to assist. As they do, Clive stands up hard, knocking over his drink. Stop this damned fucking screaming. How is anybody meant to think in this fucking place? He rushes over to the shocked nurses and smashes them out of the way as he goes to throttle the dying patient because he's just sick of the noise.
Right.
All the while, he just keeps saying, they all need to stop and be silent. Everybody just needs to silent, even if it means they would die. We cut again to Officer Ty as he's called from his post and rushed to the cafeteria to help. Josh calmly slips away in the chaos. Tretta in her office hears a commotion and runs to see. Lily sits calmly by the old man and she says, you haven't met a single good Samaritan you haven't wanted to dirty your hands on, have you? The patient dies right down the floor in a dark pool of themselves, their body broken and dragged by Clive's attack. So he's just kind of fighting, helping everyone get his hands around the throat and trying to pull him off. And the already broken patient's just being ragdolled and just, it's not nice.
No, God, no.
You could probably do that where you don't see a lot of that. You just come back in and the chaos is just gone full. Clive fights with Officer Ty, forcing young policemen to subdue him and handcuff him to a rail as he calls it in. So he just basically just fucking nightstick out, bashes him down, just tries to get him to calm the fuck down. One of the nurses...
If it's UK, it would be an asp.
It
not
would.
A nightstick.
It would.
The asp is a cool weapon too.
It's very cool. Yeah, it would be an asp.
Probably an asp. If somebody said, right, you're going out, you've got a choice of a nightstick or an asp, what are you taking? I'd take the asp because it's telescopic. It's more convenient. It's all the convenience of a nightstick, but in something the size of a phone.
A little bit of the more subliminal advertising there.
Pick up asps from Lockheed Martin. No, I don't know. Actually, don't, because that's... They're an American company, and if you want to buy British, there's probably a British weapons manufacturer. There's loads of them, I'm sure.
You'd be paying for the cost of the asp alone, just in the fucking shipping costs. That's what you got to look out for. That's how they get you. So basically, he kind of asps him, and then cable ties him to the rail.
Gotcha.
Classic British policeman style. So then, during all this chaos, a member of the public, one of the few that are there, runs in screaming that a nurse seems to have hurt themselves. So Tretta's already running towards the sort of the cafeteria, hears that, and then skids and then turns to run out another corridor. She sees Josh walking calmly as he strips his hands and wrists of their flesh. Hit the floor like stripped wallpaper.
With what? What's he stripping them with?
A metal tool loudly scrapes against the bone before bloodlust and shock finally stops him. The onlookers are all frozen in shock. So there's a couple of bits of research I did here of how to deal with third-degree burns is that they do scrape the top layer of cooked skin off. And he's using that. Tretta orders the staff to clear this up and see to Josh's wounds. She tells Daphne to check on the other wards right now as a patient in the cafeteria was only just out of surgery this morning and should not have been walking around in any way.
Yeah.
Physically or mentally shouldn't have been able to do that.
And hasn't been anywhere near Methuselah
Exactly.
either.
He's just been that. So that seems impossible. She's like, check on the wards as well. One of the orderlies runs to the nearby supply room and finds the other doctor from the surgery, the one who's standing out the window, lying slumped in a corner. He is brutally cut and repeatedly slashed his own throat with a scalpel, his face stuck in a broad and relieved grin. So right now, shit is kicking off everywhere.
Yeah, love it. Love it. People are losing their minds.
So we cut again. Lily picks up her coat and slips on her shoes. Look, take them if you're gonna. You always spend too much time on the setup, too bloody theatrical for your own good. Let's just get it done and we can go. The old man smiles in his sleep. Daphne walks into the cancer ward first and the lights are flickering overhead. All the patients are quietly moaning in their beds and writhing. She gets to the first one and sees dark wet stains over the bed sheets as the patients' bodies rupture and break under their gowns and linen.
Oh my god.
With a trembling hand, she goes to pull back the sheet, but the patient bucks and falls to the floor, their body contorted by tumours and wounds that had not been there barely an hour ago. She runs from the room in horror. She goes to the next ward across the way, where similar moaning noises come from within, and she hears shuffling movement behind the double doors. Shouting over her shoulder, she calls for help, but obviously right now everyone's rushing in all directions. The young doctor from before and another nurse join her as he enters the ward. We are faced with several patients whose surgical wounds have burst and twisted to form grotesque injuries. The shambling patients move towards the staff, with skin flapping open and organs trailing behind them. Their faces are pale masks of shock, as if they cannot believe the state they're in themselves. The doctor goes ahead but is swarmed by them as they pull at his face and coat, moaning for help. So they aren't like attacking him, they're not like zombies, but they're just like, they can't believe the pain they're in.
Yeah.
He falls to the floor as their sickly hands engulf his face. The nurse goes to aid, but Daphne finds herself overwhelmed with fear and runs from the ward. She runs out to the flickering lights overhead. The staff are running throughout the hospital floor, responding to various acts of violence and horror. It now seems that all the surgical wards feature similar horrific scenes. Clive stumbles along the corridor. His hands are shattered and is bloody at his side. Clearly he's torn them to pieces and getting free from the handcuffs in the cafeteria. Using supplies from the utilities closet, he douses his ruined hands in liquid and sets them alight. He rants how everybody can now hear the screaming like he can.
Wow.
This is where I think you would have had more Clives, more Joshes, more people who've experienced their own personal
their own little stories being told.
And then it all culminate in this madness that's happening. Lily gets her bag and chugs on her coat. Listen, I'll be out front. Just wrap this up quickly, please. We see that the old man is now sitting up with his back to us. We follow Lily as she calmly walks through the hospital floor towards the escalator. Along the way, the young doctor stumbles in front of her, the one from the ward a minute ago. His face is scratched and bloodied, and his clothing is streaked with blood and bile. It's just horrible stains all over him. He lunges for her as she enters the lift. Please, God, help me. Get help, please. What the fuck is happening? Lily looks at him with genuine pity in her eyes. Oh dear, there's no help coming. Particularly not from the old prick upstairs. Not after what you all did tonight. The doctor responds with a confused look as she gently but firmly pushes him out of the lift just before the doors close. Behind the doctor we see flames rippling down the corridor from Clive's sort of his hands on fire. So fire is now starting to spread and there's no help coming. So this is the end of this movie really. We cut to Tretta as she makes her way through the hospital ring. The screaming is overwhelming. Much more than could ever even been created by the horrors surrounding her. So the screaming is now the screams of the hospital as well as the damned and everything. Eventually she confronts the old man in her office as he sits calmly behind her desk. She asks him what he did here, begins firing questions at him, getting increasingly angry, building towards shouting, demanding to know what is going on and who the fuck he is. All the time he sits there and smiles until she is finished, exhausted. Quietly she asks him why are they being punished, they aren't the ones who hurt him. At this he laughs. It is not about who hurt me, it's about who saved me. It is the good intentions that will fuck you every time, you know. And then we end on the entire wing of the hospital burning. As we pan closer to the flames, we hear screaming faintly over the sounds of the blaze. The end.
Wow. Jesus Christ. Beelzebub be saved.
Yeah.
Welcome to Act 4. Really enjoyed
that.
Was
it alright?
Yeah, no, it's more than alright. It's really good. I'm quite a visual kind of person.
Yeah.
And hopefully people listening to this have no option but to visualise that all in their minds too. And,
sorry.
Fuck me, it's bleak.
Yeah.
I mean, grim. Basically, correct me if I'm wrong, hospital is turning into a sort of hell. It's sort of hell on earth is becoming a hell reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like a sort of Event Horizon in hospital.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, like, I was trying to do, like, what I liked about Hellraiser. There's definitely a lot of that in there.
There's definitely a lot of Hellraiser coming through.
I like the fact that, like, hell bleeds out because of your actions, that you damn not only yourself but your surroundings. The title of the movie, as far as I saw it, was The Devil Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
Because he's also lying about bleeding, because he's...
It's very clever.
Yeah,
Clap,
if I say so
clap,
myself.
Clappy clap clap.
So the audience, in my mind, would know that the old man's a devil, just from that. So I'm not sure if that works better as a twist or not, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think I assumed from pretty early on.
Yeah.
If not the first few lines.
Yeah.
That he wasn't a sort of normal John Doe.
Of course.
So
yeah.
I think you can have it either way. I think perhaps if it was fully scripted out, then maybe it would have more of an impact to have it or not have it. But I think certainly as it stands, it works either way. It doesn't matter whether you know who he is. That's not really what it's about. You know, I would say that it's quite a bleak ending.
It is quite dark.
So like, there's no escape for anybody.
So
and not only that, they're being punished specifically for doing good things.
Yeah, that is it.
What's the message?
The message. I don't know if there is. Oh fucking hell!
Oh yeah,
that shot.
Blow it off, maybe.
Well,
sorry.
Let's just get to know each other first.
Oh, well done, John. Oh.
He had all the
gentle up to a point, and you're like, fuck off.
Yeah, I was done with it then.
It doesn't necessarily have to have, you don't have to try and say something.
No, I mean...
But I suppose at the same time, you might have to put something else in the bit that we glossed over to make it seem a little less nihilistic.
What I envisioned was that the devil, he's bored and he just wants to damn alone. He's just basically, it's just fun and games to him.
Either you go a bit more over the top, so you go more into the sort of hatchet area.
Yeah, almost camp sort of
with
thing.
it. Or you'd...
I suppose or
you have to do a lot of implicit violence, I suppose.
In my mind, it cuts very quickly from bit to bit, like a book would.
I feel like it owes a bit to the void as
There's
well.
a little bit of void in there, for sure.
Yeah.
Particularly with the whole like nihilism of that.
And the hospital.
And the hospital.
And the body horror.
Yes.
But that is absolutely fucking great.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
Humdinger of a film.
Yeah, I think it's great. Given that you've gone down the whole Christianity, Catholicism side of things, ironically, who knew you were going to do that? And fucking we had Father Shane McManus or
I'm
whatever.
slightly worried that he had caught what this pitch was about.
Yeah, and turned up.
And then thought, well, these guys are going to want a priesthood in this episode.
That is honestly spooky.
It is.
Spooky.
It is worrying, to be honest. Especially with the whole tracksuit thing you're discussing. He's been trying to get in this room for a long time.
But I was going to say, you could have some representative of God's camp turn up, but be completely ineffectual.
Yeah.
It seems like the Saviour has arrived.
Yeah.
They can't affect anything in the face of this.
Yeah.
And, in spite of their best will, God's abandoned even that person. Bit of Hellraiser 2 in there, sorry, I just thought as well.
There is actually, fuck. Right, change the setting. It's now a nice corner shop. It's an off-license.
It's an off-license.
Everything's the same. But yeah, shit, there is a bit of Hellraiser 2 in there.
Well, there you are. And so your title was...
The Devil Lies Bleeding.
Devil Lies Bleeding, and I said...
That's all I had in
the
the
Devil's Playground.
Yeah.
Methuselah's Mausoleum.
Methuselah's Saviour. Surgery of the Damned.
The Devil Wears Nada.
The ending came very easy in this one, but I do think that it is quite bleak.
Just because everyone dies.
Yeah, it's very easy. Oh, fuck them. Fuck them all.
Nobody, you have to contrive any kind of escape or redemption or anything.
My point was that, like, in the face of what the devil's meant to be, what are you going to do? I mean, there's no fucking, like, fiddle contests if he's real. Do you know what I mean? If you believe that view of him, he ain't making deals about playing music well or anything like that. You can't outsmart him.
Yeah.
He's just fucking a diabolical creature.
Well, even the deals for playing great music, none of them outsmarted him.
Yeah,
they were all like, oh yeah, you can, for your natural life, you can be amazing at this thing, but then you're mine for eternity. That's always the deal. And then, I mean, obviously it's all made up, but he would then treat them their natural life would end sooner. That's the kind of mythology.
Maybe he's just gotten bored of those kind of games.
On that note, those old stories, about Robert Johnson and those kind of people, how nice would it be to try and somehow fold that in to this somehow, as if this is the modern equivalent. You could even have that come from the lips of Lily.
Yeah, you could do
something
that. Yeah, definitely, that'd be really good.
I think you could have some really great scenes with Lily that are largely just dialogue based.
Yeah, I think with her, I wouldn't want her to get her hands dirty.
Right, she doesn't need to, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's terrifying in itself, especially if you make her. She's kind of like, what's that horrible one from Harry Potter? The
Umbridge.
Umbridge. Yeah. I think why Umbridge works so well in many ways is that she's this sort of small, unassuming, kindly-looking woman.
Yeah, definitely.
Who then is just the antithesis of that. And
she's one of the most terrible people in it.
Right.
She's almost without goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a whole other podcast, Harry Potter and Us, where we talk about Umbridge. Umbridge probably is genuinely the most evil character.
I thought we called it Potter's Wheelhouse.
Potter's Wheelhouse.
Yeah, I thought that was the name, but I can't remember. We changed it so often.
Potter's Bar.
Yeah.
It's us. We have a few drinks and we talk about Harry Potter.
It was Potter's Shed. That was it.
And what are we doing that?
Listen to find out. What about He Lies Bleeding?
He Lies Bleeding.
I quite like that.
What about if you had He Lies Bleeding all in caps, but the H of he is lowercase?
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because he with a capital H is always God, in reference to God, right? And so if you did, it would be.
I like that a lot, mate. I think that's the one.
All right, sold. He Lies Bleeding, small
sold
H.
in the room.
Every episode we have a new thing that we talk about, a new offer on the website.
Yeah.
And so this fortnight rather's website offer is it's actually not a publication.
Oh, yeah.
Magazine, no, it's the Podcaster's Podcaster.
Okay.
So it's basically podcast insiders.
Nice.
You know, it's like
by podcasters for podcasters.
Of podcasters.
Yeah.
So it's of, for, and by podcast.
Yeah.
If you like.
Yeah.
Which actually probably should have been the name, but it's called the Podcaster's Podcast.
Should I change it now?
Or the podcast. Well, you heard what it was called anyway, so just write it down.
Keep on your toes, people.
And so it's not $6,000. It's not $6,000.
Nice. What is it?
$5,000. Yeah. $5,000.
Oh, Podcasters Monthly must be bricking it.
Well, it's a different what they'd call value proposition, isn't it? So there's no reason why they're mutually exclusive.
No, that's fair.
So I personally, obviously, am ordering both Podcasters Monthly.
I mean, you got all that money.
The podcast
making Podcasters Monthly.
I mean, the subscriptions are pouring in.
Yeah,
pouring in. People...
And they do pay well, I've heard.
Absolutely, loads of money in words these days. The printed word is where it's at. I think that might be the future.
Printed press is just going from strength to strength.
Yeah. Now, as you know, I started rebuilding the orphanage.
Yeah.
After Christmas time, one of the Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
I think back if anyone wants to listen that didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I ended up gambling. Had an orphanage that I looked after, and I ended up gambling all of it on the lottery, and I lost.
But
it
if you'd won, mate, you'd have been.
Of course. It goes without saying, I'd been an absolute legend.
Yeah, those orphans
absolute,
would have been.
I would have been an absolute legend, and that was worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't go the orphan's way, but I'm fine.
Give me a goose. The one as big as me, sir.
We're getting
so on and so forth.
We're getting bogged down.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to say is that I'm using a lot of the, hopefully the Podcaster's Podcaster magazine money, but also the income from Podcasting Monthly to start rebuilding the orphanage.
Nice.
But, bit of a long story.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and I'm not going to make the same mistake again
of course.
that I made with the orphanage.
Yeah.
But I'm so sure, exactly.
Yep.
That print publishing is the future.
Mate, yeah.
So I'm doing all
Safe
that.
As
all the money is going into that.
And the ironic thing is, because a lot of them can't read, the fact that they're going to be saved by print is beautiful.
To be honest, a lot of my decision-making process around the orphans is based on irony and how much irony is inherently in the situation.
You're ironic philanthropist.
Yeah.
That's what you're known.
So anyway, come to letsmakeahorrormovie.com and get a copy of the Podcaster's Podcaster.
You'll be helping orphans.
Yeah, we hear from Jake Rubens.
Yeah.
Bob Schlurfendahl.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously invented a lot of people don't know Bob Schlurfendahl.
Yeah.
That's SCHLU. RFANDAHL.
Yeah.
God, mate, don't interrupt me. I'm trying to remember how to spell Schlurfendahl, right?
Yeah.
It's important. People don't know. He's like the Tim Berners-Lee of podcasts. So he's in it. He's the guest editor of the first issue.
Yeah, oh nice.
Yeah.
You managed to snag him.
Snagged him.
Yeah.
We got Elliot Skimpf.
Ooh, Skimp's on board.
Skimpf.
You know what? He's very hard to peg down on any project these days.
He is really hard.
He's very old.
He's
He's
very,
very,
old.
very old. But it's good of him to get him out.
Somehow he's really on fucking top of podcasting when it broke.
He was. Yeah, he's
really ahead of the curve.
He's the Attenborough of podcasting.
Yeah.
Everyone's always said that about him.
Yeah. No, he's in more of the Elon Musk of podcasting, but without without all the odd choices.
Yeah, and calling people
let's say to avoid litigation. He's going to be in one of the issues of the podcast.
Oh, Musk.
Yeah.
Old Musky boy.
It's because there's a podcast called Musk's Musk, and it's nothing to do with us. Before you,
no, of course,
you know that. I don't know what I'm telling
you,
but
well, I mean, we've got muskrats, so we're not going to have two on the same docket.
No, that's true. I think that's pretty much us. I think
that's covered everything we need to cover, don't we?
Obviously, this being our newest venture.
Oh, hang on. Have we done Dave's rant about social media again? Has that been done?
What was last episode's rant? Was that a bit much? There is one, I can't remember exactly what I said, but there's one word I remember hearing my voice like quiver, like I'm angry. And I was like,
that's weird.
I hope it didn't come across as angry.
The grin on your face was like, a Cheshire cat.
Anyway. Well, look, folks, if you made it this far, again, you're really earning the...
Well done.
Yeah, you're really earning the brownie points. Yeah, look, it's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
It's been a pleasure, John, and all you listeners. It's been lovely being in your heads for what could have been up to an hour.
Yeah.
So,
check out the website.
Do check out the website, letsmakeahorrormovie.com. Obviously, as we say, it's where you get all your print media now.
Yeah.
There is a contributor section, and anyone that does write in or tweet us, that's basically the criteria, about one of our episodes, then I will doodle you a crazy sketch of what I imagine you look like, and I now put it up there.
Yeah, it's very good.
So if that's appealing...
And you know what? It generally is.
That may or may not be an incentive. I don't know. It could be a disincentive. Email us at letsmakeahorrormovie@gmail.com for all of your more longer form feedback for those of you who want to provide it, or for short, snappy things like title ideas and suggestions. Hit us up on Twitter, and for any other banter, obviously.
Just firm matters.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram. Come and look at the pics. I don't know, follow us and I'll follow you back. I think that's pretty much us.
Have fun, stay safe.
Do stay safe, do have fun. Tell your friends, rate and review, listen again.
Bye.
Let's make a horror movie, everybody.